Welcome to the Granada House Podcast, coming to you from Granada House Studios in North Park, San Diego.
I'm Hannah Russell, and I'm here with my co-host Kyle Palinok, and together we explore how to live a meaningful, balanced life. Right, Kyle?
That's right, Hannah. We bring real conversations and inspiring stories to help you live life on your own terms.
My name's Cameron Jebo.
Cameron Jebo, welcome to the Granada House Podcast.
Welcome to the Cameron Jebo Show.
Please,
at Granada House.
I'm not ready for my own show, but it's an honor to be here. Thanks for
Today's the Cameron Jebo Show. I am so excited. Came down from LA just to be here, right?
Took me a record 2.5 hours.
That's really
Unbelievable.
good.
I thought, and I was even running behind this morning too because it was all rainy and cozy. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to have a slow morning. And I got up early, had my coffee, and then I was like, oh God, it's 7-something. I got to get out of here. And I wasn't packed and was rushing, and then I got on the road, and I got here in 2.5 hours.
Right.
That's amazing.
For sure thought
It
it was
is.
going to be like 4
that.
hours.
Yeah, I think I drove down like 2 weeks ago, had the same thing, but it was like late at night, and I was like, whoa, I'm already home? That traffic.
It should be all the time. It should be 2.5 hours flat all the time.
It's like a 4.5 hour trip sometimes.
Thanks to LA traffic.
There's traffic down here too, but it's not.
Yeah.
It's not LA magic traffic. That's what makes LA magic.
You just hit usually that like weird 2-lane section past the San Onofre boobies, and that's where it gets a little
Camp Pendleton.
Yeah.
And you never know what's going to happen.
just never
There's
know.
a car.
Yeah.
It's like a car pulled over, and that's like a 35-minute delay because people are like, whoa, there's a car there.
Yeah. So you just have to. Yeah. There's no point stressing about it. Just leave early if you have to be somewhere.
Always. There's like 72 coffee shops in San Diego you could kill your time in anyways.
Right.
If you get here early.
Yeah.
That's pretty funny, though, that because when you showed up, I was like, you want something to drink? He's like, I already went to Love Song.
Yeah.
And Love Song is like where we were going to take you anyway. So then we just had to go back there.
Yeah. I told you 11:30,
So
and then I got nervous.
coffees.
I was like, I told him 11:30, but I got
You
here at
wanna take
11,
a
and
seat?
now I'm nervous, and I don't want to show up too early. So I'm
Maybe
gonna.
they're not ready.
Yeah, maybe they're not ready for you. Okay, so I'm
So
No.
I don't want to add
unprofessional.
stress to
Don't
their
show up
life,
early.
so I'm just gonna go hang out in this coffee shop.
It's not cool. It's not professional.
We did it
You did the right thing. Yeah. We would have judged you, I think.
Professional.
I think we would have just been like, yeah, I don't know about this.
This
Like,
is
maybe
a
we
San
should.
Diego podcast. It's slow into it.
San Diego
just
time.
chilled out. We did. We laid out.
I should have worn flip-flops. I knew it.
Yeah, in the rainy weather.
Dude, are you kidding? Every San Diego guy wears flip-flops in the rain.
I
just
did
will.
notice that when I first moved here. Actually,
But if you're
noticed
going to get wet,
no, but like
get your feet wet.
it's just the flip flops
Can't do it
everywhere.
anymore.
The flip flops.
Still warm.
The business cash with the flip flops.
Oh no!
Not even kidding.
Okay.
You three in Granada House. I was looking one day and I was like, it's a very San Diego outfit right now. That they're at work and they've got their
That was in the fall.
flip
Hadn't got
flops.
cold
Well, you
yet.
got to have like your tech pants, right? Your Lululemon tech pants.
Yes.
Yeah.
I rock the no socks, though. It cools me down.
Yeah.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Like, you get the airflow on the ankles. You know? It works.
I do appreciate though a regionally appropriate getup. Like we're in San Diego. Like you have permission to dress that way. Like it's okay.
I love this. This is cool.
Yeah.
Let's just
Should we
spend the
talk
time.
fashion?
Let's just rip on San Diego the whole time. No, I like it.
No, we're not ripping. We're not ripping. I'm
This is
paying
a-
mad respect to each region's like acceptable thing.
I have a big trench coat. It's not like a heavy coat or anything, but I remember wearing it to Part-Time Lover. And I think it was Royce who I was with, and he was saying it's a very like New York jacket
that's
right
right.
now. And I was
Yeah.
like, I looked around and I went, oh, you wear this all the
Unacceptable.
time. I was like, oh,
Unacceptable.
I feel weird now in this caramel long trench coat.
I'm gonna follow up with you because I decided to pack light this weekend, so I packed like one pair of tennis shoes, one pair of boots to go with like the 2 outfits that I'm gonna go out in or whatever this weekend. But I went with the cowboy boots.
You're not in Texas.
Cowboy boots and Wranglers, and I'm thinking I might get some looks this weekend.
You might.
I think it's cool.
I mean,
I think
look.
that's-
I mean, the outfits look good. I'm
Yeah.
confident in my whatever, but I think because especially like one of the dudes in this bachelor party wants to go to like the gas lamp.
Oh,
And so-
whoa, the gas lamp with that.
Let's
that
get
rejection.
wild. As I shake
Oh.
my things off. No, but and so I'm like,
gas lamp and
interesting.
cowboy
I wonder,
boots.
Yeah, I wonder if I'm gonna
That's
get
perfect.
looks.
No, you won't get
How's
looks
your
there.
accent?
I feel like,
Maybe you could just play it off like you're visiting.
Like, yes, ma'am.
From Texas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. Just say a bunch of y'alls.
Yeah.
Where's your hat? You bring the hat?
Reading the Y'all Street Journal.
Because I know one of Jim's buddies. I saw him going now. They're going to the Symphony, and he's San Diegan, full cowboy like hat and all. And I was like, oh,
tuck in the button down.
San Diegan, maybe it's a
just
thing.
go up to Temecula.
Oh yeah,
That's a thing. It's not far away.
Yeah,
but I mean,
Ramona.
I'm curious. What is there an LA outfit? Because I feel like I had this conversation just yesterday where I was like, San Diego has like this vibe with their outfits, and I'm like, in New York, everyone just wears whatever they want because they've all migrated there because they're like, this is a whatever place, and I'm going to fit in for whoever the way I am.
Totally a New York.
And it's like I feel like it's LA.
There is a New York vibe, but. She's right about like everybody's come in and it's similar.
It's transient in LA because everyone's like there.
Similar in LA because everybody's come there from all over, so everybody kind of brings tastes of their fashion from their regional fashion. But it's less about being LA fashion and more about the neighborhood that you live in. If you are in like Echo Park, Silver Lake, you can tell like a Silver Lake guy. Right, or like an Echo Park guy, or if you're a Santa Monica guy, it's totally different. You probably work in like tech.
LA is big enough that it has like major, like that's like for us that would be akin to like Orange County, versus.
Now there's overlap too. Like a lot of the if you live in the Arts District, people might think you live in Silver Lake or vice versa.
Right.
So when
I'm not the fashion guy. But when I went to New York for the first time, what I couldn't believe, because I'm Northwest person, young,
little PNW guy.
I was 19, and what I could not believe is nobody had white shoes. All I had were white shoes.
Yes.
Everyone had dark shoes, and I'm pretty sure it's because
it's funny because coming from Australia, coming from Australia,
like,
I had so many white shoes. Yeah. And like you see our stores in Australia, and they're like it's just white shoes, right?
Yeah.
And I had like white
kids
t-shirts.
Always wear white sneakers, right?
Yeah. And then I was like, no one wears white. And then I lived there for a little bit, and I was like, oh, I get it. Because you have to, it gets dirty, but then also you have to walk 15 minutes down the street to go to the laundry to like wash your stuff. So now I have a wardrobe of black, everyone.
Yeah.
Hence what I'm wearing right now is black.
That's good. Same with me in Vans. Like I think I came out the womb with a pair of slip-on Vans on. And then when my family. The slip-on Vans. Yeah. And so when I moved to South Carolina, I was young, I was a kid, but I still was wearing Vans all the time, and like nobody in South Carolina wears Vans. Well, they didn't at the time, and so I'm going to school wearing Vans, and people are like, "What are those?" And so I had to adapt.
Okay, this is a good segue. Let's talk about Cameron as a kid, little baby Cameron. So, from what I read online,
because
there's
not much there.
It's interesting because, like, I was like, I can just look you up.
There's not much there.
No, but from what it says, you were actually born in the Bay Area.
Yeah, San Jose.
But then you grew up more in
South Carolina.
And then now you're in Burbank.
The roots I feel are still really deep in San Jose, in the Bay Area. My grandparents are still there. My mom, my brother's there again. Like I got good friends there still. In fact, my best friend is moving into the home that he grew up in across the street from my grandparents.
Wow.
In a month. It's the coolest thing ever.
How old were you when you moved out?
So I left the Bay, I was a kid. I was like 4 or something like that. And then moved to Seattle for like a year and a half because Dad got a job at Microsoft, and then they offered him the opportunity to go to a number of different cities. I think the choices were Boston, Dallas, or Charlotte. He chose Charlotte because that's where his parents were. And so we moved to Carolina when I was like 6. And I just, like, pretty young kind of knew that it wasn't for me. Like, didn't love it. And, I mean, I didn't really know why. I was just kind of mad that I wasn't around, like, my grandparents. Because I loved my grandparents and I loved, like, some of my friends and stuff. And so in the summers, my mom, like, let me go. Like, she let me go on an airplane alone and fly to San Jose and live with my grandparents. So I would do, like, sometimes it was as nothing, like a week at a time or something. But later in like high school and stuff, I would live like the whole summer. I would like get a summer job and work, live with my grandparents. And one year I ended up living with my buddy Greg across the street because I wanted a little more independence or whatever. So San Jose is the home. San Jose is roots.
So when you were in high school, did you know what you wanted to do for a career?
Kind of. I mean, I I thought for a moment, I was performing all through high school. I was acting all through high school. I did plays and musicals and all that stuff. But
nice.
Like the decision wasn't made really until probably junior.
Because it's right in front of you. You're like, this is what I'm doing.
Yeah, I'm doing this and having a blast.
Yeah.
And I did have good guidance with my theater teacher, my drama teacher, and my chorus teacher. They both encouraged me. Shout out Michael Dove and Elizabeth Williams. They encouraged me, like, hey, this could be a career path for you. And there was like a hot minute where I thought I was gonna be a chef, maybe, and because like my mom always worked in kitchens as well, and my grandmother was in, did catering at church and cooked and all that stuff. And so like, I thought that, I knew that I could be good at it because I worked with them. I cooked with them all the time. And I loved cooking, and so I thought,
nice.
maybe I'll go to Johnson & Wales or something. And that was the school in Charlotte where some friends went. Or maybe I'd shoot for the moon and go to like CIA, Culinary Institute or something like that. But that didn't last very long because I decided to apply to one theater school, one performing arts college, and I got in.
Where did you go?
AMDA.
Oh, AMDA, yes.
I went to the American Musical and Dramatic Academy in Los Angeles.
In LA.
Yeah. Yucca and Vine, right across the street from Capitol Records.
Yeah, do they have a bunch of Aussies there? I feel like a lot of Aussies go over.
We had a few. In
Yeah.
my class, it was, look, when I went there, it was really small. It was like, I think total they only had like...
What year were you?
500 kids, 550 or something like that. At least that's what they told us.
Right.
I graduated 2010. It was a 2-year program.
Yeah.
Started in 2008.
Yeah.
And it was a good time. Yeah, look, the teachers were incredible. I did it all the way through, so I was a conservatory kid, so I only learned theater stuff. I didn't do GED stuff.
Oh, so you studied theater, and you didn't study acting, you studied
theater, well, I would call it theater, but it's acting for film, television, and theater.
Okay.
That was like the program, the conservatory program. And I didn't learn anything else. There was no GED, like no math, no business, no nothing.
Nice.
Yeah.
Actually, I feel like that's very beneficial.
It felt like, like to this day, I kind of say like when people move to Los Angeles and just move to the city and be like, I'm going to be an actor, and they just like start looking for acting teachers and join an acting class, and then that one's over and they go to another one. I feel like I got more in 2 years than a lot of my peers have tried to piece together in like 10 years.
Well, it's like a technical school.
Right.
It's like that's what you're doing.
Right, because they're maybe only doing one acting class every 3 months, 6 months, whatever.
Yeah.
And, not at all to knock people who are doing acting. That's what you should be doing. But I feel like the conservatory program smashed it all into my head at once in 2 years. So I did scene study. I did improv. I did the basics for 2 years, and then every semester we were learning like a new method of something, or it's a different method of acting.
Which you might have not elected to go do if you were just freelancing yourself with the class.
Sure, like a lot of kids.
And it's good to have that background so you know all the...
Exactly. Yeah. A lot of actors they'll show up, in their new city, and they'll find an acting teacher that they really like, and that teacher might only teach one method.
Right.
It might be just Meisner.
Yeah.
Right? Or something like that. And that's... Dude, there's no formula. It doesn't matter. Like that might be what works for them.
Yes.
But for my brain, I loved being able to go, a little bit, and I use it in my process when I'm creating a character. Sometimes I'll use a little bit of Meisner, a little bit of Stanislavski, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and that helps form my whole process.
That's crazy.
For this character.
I'm like a lay person when it comes to this stuff. So that's really cool because I can sort of piece together how like the conceptually what you're talking about, but I didn't even know this stuff exists.
Oh, you didn't know there was like methods of acting?
Nope. This is a non-actor right over here. Nope, just normal guy. I don't know this.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but I don't know. I feel like a lot of people don't know what you're talking about. So that's
cool.
That's
There's
cool,
a lot of people who have tried to really like harness energy and sort of the human spirit and try to make
you building blocks.
Yeah.
Okay. This reminds me of like what you would do with like music theory.
Yes.
Sure.
And then also like if you wanted to compare it to like ballet, there's like Shiketi, RAD.
Right.
Like there's like different syllabuses to learn.
That's really neat. So so you're creating you're creating different tools that you can then pull from to create something that's unique, or how
to
you
present a character that.
Tell me about the process when you're auditioning for a role, and the writers, the directors, everybody has like a different idea of what it's supposed to be. I'm sure some directors are more, or casting directors maybe it would be, are more open to interpretation of it, or maybe it's more conceptual, and some people are like, no, we want this.
Yeah.
They have like an idea of what they want, but how much do you get a lot of wiggle room with like creating the character, or creating or is it just always different?
It depends, and I might get off track, and by the way, we've talked about this a little bit with being ADHD. Like, I really don't mind if you want to rudely just say, "Hey, get back on track." You were just you were talking about this.
Like,
so if I start to ramble and I lose myself,
I think it's
bring me back to center, and
it's
I'm
cool
totally
to talk
fine with
about
that.
like
Honestly,
the intricacies of your job, and then
No, it is.
But then
And
I do want to bring it back to like the whole why and what it's like being an actor, and I think that's, as long as we hit that today, I think everyone's going to be happy, because that's seriously really interesting. I think for so many people,
it can be. It can also be very boring. So, listener, viewer, if you're bored, put it on 1.5 speed.
Not very many people know, they have the access to be able to like ask an actor what it's like to be an actor, just to be one. Well, in general,
it can be. The process can be extremely collaborative, and it can also be not collaborative.
So sometimes you're like, okay, I have to just reproduce this exact vision, and sometimes you get to be like creative.
Sure, you always get to be creative, because it's part of the job, especially from the get-go. When I get an audition, I get what's called a breakdown, and that's a character breakdown. So it's like it has a paragraph. If you're lucky, you get a full paragraph. Sometimes it's 2 sentences or something, and that tells me whatever the writer has decided, however the writer has decided to describe this character. Brian is tall and handsome and blonde, and so it's like naturally my agents are reading these breakdowns and going, okay, tall and blonde, okay, that's, maybe I should send my client out for this audition, and then the casting director comes back and goes, like he'll fit for this. Okay. So here's the actual material, and we'll go ahead and have him submit an audition on tape for this and whatever. And so I'll get this breakdown that says what the character looks like, or if I'm lucky, there I'd go knocking the.
I think you're just sabotaging me at this point.
I'm just sabotaging the whole thing.
Stop moving.
I can't help it. And so I'll prep a character. The first thing that I do in the process is memorize the material. I try to get off book, as they say, which is just memorizing the lines.
Right, which is like mind blowing to someone like me I can't remember.
It's literally, dude. It sounds hard when you're looking at it, and somebody goes, "Yeah, I just memorized 8 pages today," or whatever. But it's literally just a practice thing. It's so it just comes naturally after.
That's good
after a while.
That's
it's like you just start learning.
It's a skill.
Yeah.
It's like anything else.
But so I'll memorize, and then through the memorization process, you'll naturally start to your creativity, your creative mind will just start to make choices. You'll just start to kind of feel who the character is as you're learning the material, and then you start expressing that, and you start rehearsing. And I mean, sometimes, guys, I get one night to do this. Sometimes I'll get I'll get an audition the night before, and it's like, here's 8 pages, and here's the breakdown, and we need this by noon tomorrow. And you're like,
okay.
And so you have to show up in person and
used
do it?
Used to have to show up in person.
Pre-pandemic.
Pre-pandemic.
And now you're sending vids.
Thanks to we all have a 4K camera in our pocket.
Yeah.
They expect us to have
a light, a backdrop.
We have that light,
editing skills.
We have that tripod and your phone, and you have a backdrop. And
that's actually pretty cool, though. So you get to audition.
I resisted. I was like such a resistor. Because I used to be really good in the room. I used to be able to go in.
That's the thing. You don't get the energy.
You don't.
Like, we could have done this. We could have just Zoomed this or something. I've done
the Zoom, and then look, through the pandemic, obviously we all had to do what we had to do, and do your Zoom podcasts and your Zoom interviews and your Zoom auditions, and I hated it. I hated the Zoom audition because then somebody's connection could be bad, and your performance might look and you're like.
But there were some pros to that for being a screen actor.
Oh, of course.
Like learning.
There's totally pros to to being a screen actor and doing self-tape auditions, because you get to sort of be like, okay, look, I still have to be on camera, so I'm not going to shout like I'm a theater actor. I still have to do this camera thing.
Yeah.
And I get to send in like the best take of my performances, which is also a crutch, because then you're not in front of the person that's making the decision, and then they might not see like, oh, this guy stayed up till 4 a.m. and worked way too hard on 4 pages. Like, can he really handle a 95-page script or 100-page script or whatever? And then I've heard nightmare stories of, they hire an actor that they've never worked with or that they don't know, and he seemed really good on his self-tape, and then he gets to set and he doesn't. Just
can't memorize it quickly.
Or maybe he's a nightmare, or maybe he's just not, people don't like working with him, or maybe he's not as experienced in,
Tell me about that. Tell me about the culture. Do you find that the industry in general, the community is like, I mean, I do, obviously, I know that, wait, let me go back, because it's pretty funny how we met, and because I don't know, I just think we have to tell that story.
Yeah, let's go back to that
story.
Because then I want to get into like,
let's move forward to like, how have you always
like,
acted? Have you had other jobs?
How do you survive? There's just
Esoteric
people
stuff.
that just like sort of, I don't know, you call yourself ADHD. I don't know. I'm still like,
I was diagnosed.
I think I'm borderline, but I think we operate on like a similar frequency, and you meet these people. And Paige was telling me the other day, she's like, I don't know, there's these people that just pop back in on your life, and you're just like, wow, that's a fun surprise. And
it's just an energetic connection.
It's just I can't believe it's been like over 10 years. But anyway,
when you
connect, how did we meet,
connect.
Cameron? How did we meet?
No, it's true though. When you connect, and it doesn't matter. Like the time between hangs.
Yeah,
doesn't really matter.
Yeah. Last time you were here, you fully restored my confidence. I was like, I wonder how he's doing. I wonder like what's going on. You follow each other.
Not homeless.
Hey, that's good.
I mean, that was going to be one of my questions that I asked.
Have I ever lived out of my car?
Like, no, not specifically that question, but like,
I would. If I weren't married, I probably would have had a few years of like, or a year, or I don't know, of just like floating.
It's probably funny because it kind of coincides with
It takes a specific type of woman to deal with people like us.
It kind of coincides with the cheap room that you rented.
Okay.
From Kyle,
all right, I'll tell the story. I'll tell the story how we met.
Right. So let's
get back to that. Because you want that. So
we want the real stuff.
You want the real stuff.
Yeah,
okay, so I was, I don't know. Yeah, so if this was 12 years ago,
man.
Yeah, like I was in my early 20s, early to mid 20s, I had
you hadn't gotten married yet?
No, I was married because we
just recently married.
Brother, I got married at 21 years old. I was a child.
What year did you guys get married? I was a wee boy.
2012. So this was for my buddy Nick's bachelor party.
It was
in like
2014.
Basically
a year or two after that.
2013 or 14.
Okay, yeah.
This was Nick's bachelor party. What up, Nick Ritchie? Brilliant writer, actor.
Oh, really?
He doesn't act as much, but he's a writer, director, and he's an insane producer as well.
I didn't get to meet all those guys. I just met Mark.
You just met Mark. So,
who I dearly want to hang out with again.
Nick said, hey, you're coming to my bachelor party. Yeah. The boys were all going to San Diego. We're going to do something. We're going to go Padres game. We're going to do this stuff.
Gas lamp.
I know I don't think we actually ended up going to the gas lamp.
Good job. Yeah, good job, Nick.
Yeah.
But they did a lot of the guys in this bachelor party at the time had money, and I was in my early 20s. I did not have money.
Who recently graduated.
Didn't have money. And so my buddy Mark and I were in the same boat, and we were like, look, we don't want to go stay at this hotel that's like $800 a night. And so let's look for an Airbnb to share together, and so we can still go and have fun with the boys when we
just take off a zero.
Yeah. So we found an Airbnb that looked really cool, and the owners looked really chill and whatever, and it was Kyle and Paige's house.
Mind you, this was like Airbnb, like infancy.
This was the prime days
I think
of
it was
Airbnb.
2012.
The way it should have
had to have been.
Yeah. Well, he just said 2012.
Yeah. It
like
was 2012, 2013, something like that, and it was literally the way that Airbnb was designed to be. It was like, let us open our home as a bed and breakfast, where you stay in our back house.
The air from Airbnb came from Air Mattress.
Sure.
They
I believe that.
So we had, there was two of us. We had a 2-bedroom, 1-bath house, but we were like, well, I don't know, we like traveling. Paige and I were going to open a hostel in Argentina at one point. We just loved the idea of traveling.
You guys have come a long way too. Look at where you are now. But anyway, continue with the story.
People
and
thought
now
we
you
were
have like 6 homes
crazy because we were like, renting out our actual house and
Yeah.
sharing
your
a
second
one
bedroom.
bath.
You were renting
Yeah,
out your
I mean,
second
it was
bedroom.
like-
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so Mark and I were just like, dude, the price is right. Like, let's go and we sleep in the same bed and it doesn't matter. And we'll
Save some money.
Yeah, saves money. And so we showed up, met Kyle and Paige. They were super cool, obviously. And then we were kind of like, hey, sorry, we might be out late. Like, I hope that's okay. And they were like, yeah, like, whatever. And we would come back and Kyle and Paige would still be up and we would chat with them. And then we'd go to bed and we'd wake up the next morning and Kyle made coffee.
And Paige was making breakfast for everybody,
Yeah.
like eggs.
And we were like, wait, this is really nice. And it, it was like a 3 or 4 day weekend. And so after day one, it was kind of like, we like these people. Like, let's hang out.
I think a lot of your crew was hungover, and then you were like, "Oh, I think we're not
They're
hanging
just
out
still
anyway."
in the hotel, so let's just stay here.
All morning.
We ended up hanging out with Kyle and
Yeah.
Paige the next morning, and really enjoying the time. And then throughout the weekend,
I'm gonna put a Polaroid overlay right
Show
here
the Polaroid
on the video.
There's
Yeah,
two
yeah, do
Polaroids.
it.
There's a selfie,
I think that's
and then
great,
there's
yeah.
a Polaroid of Mark and I. Mark Harley, my actor buddy that I came down with.
And I just remember thinking, "Oh my God, you're a Power Ranger!"
Okay, wait, this is the first time. First time we've mentioned this.
No idea.
So it was after Power Rangers then. So it would have
Yeah.
been 2013 or 2014. Yeah.
Okay, so wait, you booked Power Rangers then pretty early on.
Yeah.
Was that one of your first jobs? Pretty.
Oh yeah. Let's see. In the same year, I booked 4 jobs, which was really cool.
Straight out of school,
No,
basically.
I graduated 2010.
Okay.
2000, either late 2010, 2011. I got my first show. I got an episode on a Nickelodeon show,
Okay.
and that was my first yay! I got a guest star on a show.
Oh, nice.
And then 2012 was when I got married, and so I didn't do too much that year in the way of career. I did a couple of short films and some fun stuff.
Right.
And then I was East Coast for most of the summer doing wedding prep and all that fun, stuff
Yeah.
like that. And then on my honeymoon, I was screen testing for Power Rangers.
Okay.
So we were driving across. Our honeymoon was a cross country road trip. So we stopped at a bunch of cities, and it was a blast.
Nice.
It was a total blast. And the day after my wedding, I got a call from the producers of
Yeah.
Power Rangers, and they were like, "Hey, we have to fly you out back to LA because we're doing screen tests and mix and match sessions, which is where they put actors on the same room and we do scenes together, and then they'll be like,
see how you guys vibe.
and they'll be like, okay, now you leave and we'll swap you out for somebody else, and then okay, now you leave and we'll swap you out, and it's mix and match literally, and so it's a full day of it.
Wow.
So they flew me out. I did it for a day, and then they flew me back, and we started our honeymoon. We got all the way down to New Orleans.
Yeah.
We were supposed to go the next day to Austin, Texas.
Yeah.
We had to cancel our Austin, Texas, because I got a call literally on the drive to Austin. They were like, "Hey, we need you to come back to LA for another
Nice.
screen test."
And they paid for your flights back then before you booked the job. I love that.
Yes.
I feel like that's changed.
So this was out of their pocket, though. This was
Nice.
Out of the
They were
producer's pocket.
serious.
Yeah, they were serious
Yeah.
about me.
Yeah.
And so they flew me out, and shout out to my superhero wife,
Yeah.
Nicole. She drove from Austin to
Oh my
Amarillo, so across the entire state of Texas,
Is it
alone.
Test the marriage from the very beginning.
That's so great, dude.
She's a saint. She drove across Texas by herself while I was in LA doing the 3rd or 4th screen test that they made us do.
Yeah.
Flew back to Amarillo. We finished our honeymoon. We did a bunch of fun
nice.
stuff. Got to LA. Found out I did not get the job.
Oh, I didn't.
So
Okay,
in-
that was such a cliffhanger. I just assumed
So in
that
Power
you got the job.
Rangers, there's the 5, right? There's the Red
Yeah,
Ranger,
yeah.
the blue, green, yellow, and pink. What I learned later was that I was auditioning for the Red Ranger. They don't really tell you who you're auditioning for because there's 3 guy roles usually and 2 girl roles. And so when you audition for Power Rangers, you're not reading real scenes from the show. You're reading they're called dummy sides, scenes.
Okay.
Because they don't want anything to leak and get spoiled for the next season. And so you're just reading scenes that have been written as if you're like a young teenager with attitude that can fight or whatever.
Okay.
And so later on I learned that I was auditioning for the Red Ranger.
Yeah.
And when it got down to the point of them making their final decision and looking at the table and going, Red Ranger, Blue Ranger, Pink Ranger, whatever, my headshot was on the table. The owner of the brand at the time looked at the table,
Yeah.
looked at my headshot,
Yeah.
picked it up, and threw it away.
Yeah.
And went to the stack of other headshots of other actors who had been screen testing and sifted through it and said, we want that guy. And that ended up being Andrew Gray, our Red Ranger, and we love him, and he was great and everything. And so I didn't get the role.
Okay.
And
but you didn't like him at the time.
That was I didn't care. I didn't know him. Like, that's just welcome to the industry. A lot of it is like, wow, you were the best guy for the role, and a lot of it is literally just like some guy likes the look better than.
Or like when you get down to the end of Disney and they just like, they line him up and they're like, she doesn't fit the wig.
Yeah, okay. I mean, it's welcome to entertainment. Welcome to film entertainment.
Yeah.
So. It was sad or whatever, but then later on they called me and they were like, look, we're really sorry about that. Like, that sucked. The producers called me. So not the owner, not the head guy, but the producers who had paid out of pocket to fly me.
Yeah.
They were my advocates. They were my champions. Okay. And the casting director, Iris Hampton, the producer, Jonathan Zacher.
We mutually know.
Oh, wow.
Super weird.
So
different story, but that was awesome when we found that out. Yeah.
And so they called me and they said, look, we're really sorry about that, but if you keep showing up, like, there's another role. It's the 6th Ranger. It's right. In this season he's going to be silver and whatever. And if you keep showing up, like, we're not going to let that happen again. Like, he is not going to have that same power to do that again. So just keep showing up to the auditions, please. And I did, and I got the role. I became then
When did you get the role? Was it like a year later, or?
It was, so let's see, if they cast and they send everybody out to New Zealand in like August. Yeah, so that was after wedding, after honeymoon, June, July. August, they sent everybody to New Zealand. I started auditioning again for the 6th Ranger in November. Got the role. I got the call that I got the role in February and flew out in March. Nice. So I joined the cast in March. Yeah.
So August, September, this is kind of like a good
January, February, March, 6-7 months of like.
This is a good question for. I was about to say real people who like aren't actors.
For normies.
For normies, right?
Just so everyone knows, Cameron's not real.
I'm not real.
He's
I'm actually
first
AI.
Iterate. Yeah, got him from China. He looks pretty good though, right?
Looks like a stain on the hoodie. It's real.
Yeah.
It's real.
His fingers like.
This is a good question for the. I like normies.
It works pretty
right?
well. He's a real guy.
The dealing with the rejection constantly is something that I know I've been through, but I'm like pretty used to now.
You're used to it as a dancer.
I'm used to it, but back in my early days, it kind of took me a little bit, and some people still these days are like, how do you just like go and do that? I'm like, it's just like another day in the office. So like, how's your experience with that and your segue into like, do you still feel the feels? Or
I got to taste the dance rejection, which in my opinion is much more brutal than the acting rejection, because especially when you're acting for film, a lot of it isn't rejection. It's not really rejection.
No, it's just you're not right.
It's simply it's not right. Like, it just
doesn't fit.
They're not rejecting your talent or your skills.
So it's less on like you're not
presence.
Good enough for it. It's just
it's very rarely you're not good enough, because oftentimes if you've gotten to the point of being in front of the people you're in front of, you're good enough. Like, you're fine.
Yeah.
Like, it mostly boils down to, okay, we've got, a bunch of people.
Look and feels. Literally the size of
feels, vibes, the connection between the two actors. If there's, let's say this actor has a romantic partner in the film or in the project or whatever, and they don't have any chemistry. It's like, dude, we got to change this. We have to change this.
Right.
They have to come in, and we have to bring somebody in that actually has chemistry with this guy.
Yeah.
Or vice versa. It's like,
right.
So they'll try multiple things, and then it's not really rejection.
So you learn to not take things personally early.
Never.
Never. But on top of that,
even this. Listen to this. The worst experience I ever had with rejection was a movie. I just gotten back from Power Rangers, and I'd done a couple of other things, and this movie wanted me, and so my manager actually was a producer on this thing at the time, and so I thought, great, I already have a leg up, and
right.
So I showed up to the auditions. I got the role. There were a couple of people in the movie that I kind of knew from auditioning, and other actors and stuff like that. We had this fun, hot young cast and everything, and we did a couple of the table reads, which are sort of like everybody sits down and reads the script out loud together, and it gets kind of exciting. And then for some reason they didn't like the chemistry with a few of the characters.
Yeah.
And the chick that was playing sort of my love interest in the film, she was like a first-time actress, and we weren't really connecting.
Right.
Got home late that night, got a call from my manager. He was like, sorry, like they decided to recast you, so you're no longer in the movie. I had signed the contract.
You'd already
Oof.
That's
I had
rough.
I had done it. Like we were in it.
Because there's like a financial loss
that
there
felt,
as well.
That felt low, but
It
like
was low. But then I learned why. Like he told me, he was like, look, I don't agree with it. Like it's bullshit. Sorry, can I cuss on this podcast?
Yeah, totally. It's subjective.
Kind of,
It's
yeah.
not.
So they said they had an advisor. It was an indie film, but they had like an advisor from a big studio.
Yeah.
And they told the director, and at the advice of this guy, they had told the director and the producers, like, because she looks like this other famous actress, even though she's not experienced
So you
and
got the
not necessarily like the best part of this film, she might bring in dollars because she looks like so and so. So people are going to associate.
Hollywood.
But why?
It's
Just
very
because they're
Hollywood.
changing her out, why did you have to go too?
They didn't change her out. They kept her. Because she
oh,
looks like.
But you,
So
oh
that
my
was
God,
that was
I
the
see.
reason that they gave.
Yeah.
That was the
man.
reason they gave
That's-
me, my manager, and he was like, "Look, I don't agree with it, whatever." And at first I was super angry, and then he was like, "Look, you weren't going to make that much money on this movie anyways. It's an indie film and whatever."
Okay.
So like, be upset, have your angry moment, grieve,
Yes.
but dude, you're doing fine.
Yeah.
You just got off 3 projects. This is going to happen to you more and more because
Yeah.
Get used to it.
get used to like. And the rejections are going to get harder because now you're moving up.
Yeah,
and so
yeah.
the rooms you go into now are going to be bigger.
So
the
it's gonna
people
be
you're meeting is
harder,
bigger.
the loss.
So when they say no, they're going to say yes first and then no.
Yeah.
Because they want everything. They want everybody and everything. And
Yeah.
then they're going to go, oh shit, we got to backpedal and we
Right.
can't have that. And so that was the worst. And everything after that got easier.
Yeah. It's funny because like you talk to people that like have a stable job every single day, but like this is your everyday for you. You're moving up.
Oh,
and
yeah.
then you're getting
And by
it
the
or
way,
you're not.
I also want people to know, like, the everyday for me is I still have that every day, and I still have to pay my bills.
Right.
Like
This is what we're trying to get into now, because
Yeah.
I want to get into the thick of it, because for time's sake, but also because we're right at the perfect time to talk about, like, maybe because you've done this your whole career. And I'm sure you've have you imagined or related to maybe, a different Cameron in another world or something that's, or just relate to someone who maybe has a whole different idea and like how perspective plays so much into their everyday. I mean, for someone in the corporate world to get rejected after they're supposed to get promoted or something, and then they don't, they will lose it. They'll file lawsuits about wrongful termination.
Sure.
And it's like, and I
Also
think
shout
the
out
expectations.
Also shout out to the folks who are in the corporate world and know that they deserve better and can balance having their career, their full job, and still be interviewing in their off hours for
another one or something that
job,
they know is more in line with their.
Shout out. My buddy Matt is like this. He has his complaints about the corporate world, but he works really hard, and then he's constantly telling me, he's like, I just interviewed for this, so I just interviewed for that place, I just interviewed for that place, and I'm like,
and still performing.
is that not you've got a newborn and you have this full-time corporate job, and then you still but you still know that you deserve bigger and better, and so you're going out and going for the ones that you want, and it might not be like huge salary bumps or huge title bumps or anything, but you want more and better, and so you're going for it, whether it's as little as I would like to work closer to home, quality of life, bam, he's going for it. And dude, I respect that.
I think
so
that it's
much.
like we learned with Tyson last week or 2 weeks ago. It was like take the next step, or if it was like with Anthony, it was like I know that I was ready for a big change, and I hope that it speaks to people out there. Like you're in this whole different arena, and you've just had to kind of figure out this very niche way to like operate in this world of bills and
they're making it their own world.
Yeah.
It's so cool.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, you
have a lot of
operating in
advocates. It
this-
sounds like you have people that are like there that I'm sure are very like rooted with like your manager and people that are like, I know that you have to have a good relationship with these casting directors and people that, so you have like this sort of farming ground of like this.
It's a little garden.
Actually,
It's a little
before we
garden
got
that
into this
you-
topic, I was actually going into you're constantly being grateful. I notice like when you post stuff online and you're like you're really big into like honoring the people that you work with. Like you're always
so
just,
much of what we do is so
and you guys you need each other.
Soulful
Yeah.
and energetic. Like people are really pouring a lot of energy
Yeah.
from their soul into this project.
Yeah.
And it's so good to be grateful. Like it's gratitude is Miracle Grow.
Right.
Like
Right.
it just
exactly.
it just makes people
And it's
grow
and that's
and
something
be
that you can
better.
consciously choose, and whatever position you're in. I think, and you see this in like classic examples of like the hero's journey, where you decide to go to this new place, burn the ships, so to speak, where you're not going back, and then all of a sudden, like when a human, a normal human, I mean, some people would disagree with me, would see another fellow human on a journey. They tend to like naturally want to help, and they show empathy, they show support, and I think like the main point of like why we're trying to do this is to try to help motivate people that are like feeling that way, and interviewing people like you who I would say is fair to say like you are living in a career and you're on an everyday basis that has a whole different type of challenges, but you've been conditioned and been able to like learn different skills to kind of overcome these things that you may not realize like really could help in the rest of the society with people if they learn these principles,
Yeah.
right? Because think about that kind of rejection. Like I'm definitely would have a really hard time with like going so far into something and then just like being okay, here's my interview, and then just like getting shot down because someone else looks like someone. I mean, like I would have a really hard time with that, and I'd like to think that I wouldn't, but it's like that would be
There's
difficult.
another element to the being grateful for when you're in that situation, because like you just lost the job, which is like your next 3 months paycheck.
Right. It could mean
right?
it could mean the difference of
Oh, yeah.
food
We haven't
on
even
the
talked
table.
about financial.
And
food
so,
on the
but
table.
then to be a good actor, you still have to have that energy about you that you can bring to the role. But inside you might be feeling financially frantic because you've just lost this paycheck. But then you're like, okay, I'm going to make the decision to be grateful and take something grateful, something positive out of this. Like, what did I learn? And it's like, I have the decision about how I want to show up and my energy, and I'm just going to trust that I'm in the right place and the money's going to figure itself out. I feel like is a way that I know I've lived as an artist, but like the ups and downs, it's kind of just the ebbs and flows, learning to deal with that and make the decision yourself if you're going to be like, if you're going to let it take control of you, because it affects everything else. I don't know. Yeah.
Absolutely. You nailed it.
Yeah.
So on top of gratefulness comes this trust of the process that you go against like some of the grain in yourself. Like, nope, I don't feel that way. I don't want to act that way. Like I feel sad and I feel like I want to close up. But then you trust and you say, look, if I don't put myself out there, and that's another big topic we like to hit on is being yourself, like myself is not, I mean, Kyle is not a closed up little like hermit.
But when you're losing
when
your
it's hard to
security
get that
and your money and you're like,
so you have to
crazy.
find something.
So you have to find something,
inside
and being
you to
just
do that.
like grateful, just saying, oh, I really like this flower. Totally unrelated. Totally unrelated. You have a decision to like be that way and trust, which I feel like as an actor you have to like condition yourself. Yeah. Otherwise it'll eat you
It'll eat you alive. You can definitely follow.
So
ruts.
do you have, what kinds of things do you have any kind of tools in your quiver that you kind of use sometimes whenever, or do you just not, I mean, I don't know, maybe you don't ever feel like that, but I would imagine that with all these, with all the adversity that could come with just constantly grinding to get the next, role and to continue on. I mean, there's got to be
It can
something.
be really helpful to have a goldfish brain sometimes.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Like,
okay.
It can be really helpful to just
easily forget, move on.
or
Yep.
some people can see neurodivergent symptoms of ADHD as a blessing, being like, oh, I'm too distracted to really, focus and worry about the way somebody talked about me or
There's
somebody thought about me or
something
how
to be
they
said about
rejected.
quickly being able to forgive and forget.
Yeah, forgive and forget,
that's
or just
one
not
thing
even
that
really. Don't stress about it. Like, it's not about you. It's not about Cameron. It's more about how they perceived like what I brought to the table, and they didn't.
We spoke about living in everyone lives in their own reality.
How does the ego play into that? Does the ego in general drive someone forward to say, no, F you, I am good enough, and that's my motivation because I know that I'm good enough? Or is it like part of it's just like, no, it's not like you kind of went with the anti-ego thing, which was like, it's not about me. They just don't see it that way, so I'm going to move on. You know what I mean?
I mean, I constantly have ego checks. Like, I have friends who for sure will they'll rip me in half when I start to behave a certain way. It's like, hey, dude, like
that's actually just being a good friend.
You're
though.
not big. You're not famous. You're not rich. You're just another, barely working actor. Like, it's great to have friends who knock you down a peg, or wives who knock you down a peg.
Yeah,
and
I
mean, seriously though, it's good to be humbled. Like,
but the same wives though that, like, I don't know, when I say that, I mean they're there though. Like,
they're
they may keep you in
all,
check, but I don't know. I'm going to talk about my wife because she's also the one that is like, making sure things are happening. She's like there and in the engine room and like, I'm like, especially with kids and everything. I mean, that's another whole aspect to things. But I don't know. I mean, the ego check, like,
another ego check is like, I'm not rich, and I have been blessed with a really cool career and lots of like really amazing experiences and this like incredible network of like talented, successful, brilliant people. And from an outside perspective, you might see my path and think, oh, if you didn't know me, you might think, oh, he probably has a big house, or he drives fancy cars, or he has all this stuff. And it's not the case. Like, I literally just built a fence this week for money. Like, I do jobs. I'm a jobber. You do what you got to do.
I built a fence.
That's like,
so I built a fence for money,
right?
And it's helping pay the bill. Like, that's what we do. We work jobs.
Living a balanced life is that though. Like, actually, I think you just debunked a lot of stuff with the
many actors, so many creatives.
Well, it's not being an actor is not all or nothing. It's not like you make.
It's like this.
Are you? That's like But it's not
1 year it'll be like, oh,
an actor that is able to live a balanced life and enjoy and be grateful and enjoy what they're doing, live a healthy life and doesn't become, a superstar. That's not an unsuccessful actor.
No.
So,
and in fact, I love my life now. No,
that's literally most actors.
It's 99.9%, or 0.1% of the ones that you see that don't have to work any other job. Being an artist is an endeavor that is incredibly tough, and so I respect any actor, any artist that is willing to just do what they need to do to survive, to pay the bills, to live, to whatever, so that they can continue pursuing their craft.
That's one of our questions, actually. I think it's probably time because this question speaks to, people that are, wondering, like, if they're living for themselves. Like, one of the ethos of what we're trying to do and what we do with Granada House and the topic we're after is, like, how do we help people by sharing different stories of those that are living interesting, careers and lives to
build a
life out of like who is reflective of yourself,
like aligns with who you are. So I
love what you guys do.
Looking back on this whole journey, is there
looking back?
Looking back,
we can't be looking back at 34 years old. Reflect. Can we look back? Can we come back in like 30 years and look back? Because I don't want to look back now.
No.
Why don't we just take a moment of reflection?
Is there some advice that you can give to someone who's striving to like build a life that aligns with who they really are?
Yeah, I really can only speak to my experience.
Yeah, so, that's what we want.
Especially in the last couple of years, saying yes to opportunities that may help you survive is really crucial. I did not know that I would like working with my hands.
Building fences,
painting houses, demolishing bathrooms for renovations.
There's something
learning how to grout,
really
like all these things that I've been learning the last couple of years.
Yeah,
I did not know, nor did I think I would like until the pandemic. And the pandemic,
forced you to
all of
change.
us, nobody was working, so like I had to, I was literally just trying not to drown, and very fortunately, my wife still had her job. We weren't, out on the street or anything. But yeah, a friend approached me and she was like, "We're opening a restaurant, and I don't want to pay the astronomical quote that we got for this wallpaper company. So would you like to go to YouTube University and learn how to wallpaper? And you and I'll do it, and I'll pay you to do it, and we'll do it." And I did it, and that snowballed into, "Hey, do you want to learn this painting technique and do this wall?" And I was like, "Of course!" Like, what else do I have going on? I can't go out and I can't do other things. So yeah, let's learn this painting technique. And then my stepdad, he goes, "Oh, you learned how to do that paint?" Like, my entire career is painting. If you ever need extra work, I always have extra work up here. So I would ship up to, I still do. I ship up to San Jose every now and then. I go paint a house. Yeah. And I love it because it's me. It's just me. Yeah. Sometimes he's there, and that's cool.
I just think there's something cathartic about that whole building thing.
It's so great.
I don't know about you, but like I also like right now I've been struggling because I'm like I have all these projects that I haven't. It's out of my control to actually like close them up, and I know like in about 2 to 4 weeks, like a lot of these will be kind of done, and I'll probably have this sense of like but like I really sometimes crave just finishing like.
Well, this speaks to my advice towards young creatives or new creatives, or if this is anybody who's shifting from you quit your corporate 9 to 5 and you're pursuing your creative path. You're following your joy, and that is commendable. Try everything. Yeah. Like if you need a pay the bills job, try everything. Don't go sit in a temp job in an office just to pay the bills because you think that's what you have to do. Like there's a lot of things that you could try to do that may pay not very much, but they might pay a little bit and it might help you get food on the table. Just go try everything.
Yeah, and then you don't feel vulnerable when you're going into these auditions or castings because you're like, I got some money. Yeah. I got something else that I do.
Yeah. Yeah. And another thing is I get bored in the gym. I get really bored in the gym, and I know that I need to be fit for my job. I need to look a certain way. I'm a 6-foot blonde actor. I can't be a schlub. Yeah, a schlub. But I get really bored in the gym. Yeah. And when I go work on these construction jobs, especially demolition, dude, it's so taxing. The other day I demolished a deck. It was a 2-day job. I demolished a deck, and it was the largest deck I've ever seen in my entire life. And so we were ripping and sawing and tearing, and then we had to haul all that lumber up a giant hill and burned 6,000 calories.
There's nothing you can do in a gym that will equate to the. Gyms even have special machines where it's like it's supposed to just isolate certain muscles. It's supposed to like real. And it's like or you could just go and move a bunch of dirt, or you could. For me,
scrolling through Instagram and some fitness influencers like, we're going to do farmer carries today. And I went,
it's like, why don't you actually go move something?
I'm like, I literally just did farmer carries for 16 hours over the course of 2 days.
I can't remember where I saw this, but there was like this. There was this study about like renewable energy, and they're looking at things all the way from buoys that are just floating around the ocean to like literally all this energy transfer that is not being used.
Unharnessed. Yeah.
Imagine all the weight and all the calories of energy burned in gyms every single day. We could probably power the entire
I like
country
that.
If we could figure out how to harness.
Solution there.
I mean, you're still picking up things and putting them down.
I mean, gosh. Yeah. And all it is resistance. We create resistance to literally burn energy, and then we also want energy to burn.
Right. Yeah.
But that's
Oh my
that's
God.
that's
funny.
part of how I formed and created being fulfilled is like
So
Yeah.
you're not
fulfilling
you're
my
not
energetic, my need to expel energy and everything by going and I got jobs working with my hands. Like I
Yeah.
Yeah.
you know.
So okay. So the answer that I'm getting is clear. It's like for anyone like looking to go and do something like this, make a change, whatever that is for you. It's don't be over or also just saying yes to like different experiences that come up, especially when you need to make it work in this. I think being adaptable and not being so headstrong that you're like denying yourself the ability to put food on the table. Yeah. This is a tough society. Like, come on, Southern California.
It's very expensive.
I mean,
even having two incomes in one household, it's
dude.
just. I mean, you have to do what you have to do, and
I don't think there's a single like successful person out there that wouldn't disagree with a level of being, having humility or whatever that is. To do whatever you need to do.
That's another thing in I feel like the Hollywood acting world is having humility.
Totally, and it transfers even into actual film jobs as well. There have been many jobs that I booked and I didn't want to do them because there's a little piece of my ego that had said, "Oh, you've done so much bigger than this.
Mm-hmm.
Why would you stoop to this level?"
Not necessarily stoop, but it's almost like. You don't need this.
Yeah.
Right? Like, so don't, maybe be pickier.
Yeah.
You don't need this. Don't take this job. It's not for you. It's you've already done something like this. It's maybe the pay isn't good enough for the amount of time you're going to be gone.
Yes.
I could be making more literally doing construction for 2 weeks. Like whatever, what have you. And you have to put yourself in check and go, okay, but there is something in this that I might need. Right.
Right.
And so the humility and the gratitude of it all is finding that piece of each little project that propels you forward.
And it's pretty amazing. I don't know if you've had this experience where you might take a project like that and you might think that, and then something really magical comes from that experience. You meet someone.
Usually it does.
I feel like that's how I got my Bluey job.
Yeah.
I took a humility job that I didn't want to do, and I met someone. Mm-hmm. So boom. You know?
you're not going to find the cool opportunities if you're stuck with just the safe path. I mean, we talked about humility, we talked about gratefulness, which really resonates with me. I mean, I think these are all really great topics to take away.
Yeah.
I think it's time for the question. The question.
We timed that pretty right as well. The question.
Can we make let's make another jingle?
We need a jingle for the question. I agree. Maybe we just
the question.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think we should just grab that.
So in this book, there's a question.
I like the rainbow.
And nobody knows what
the question is,
except for one person
on page 2.
Yeah, make sure it's the latest question.
We haven't read it. It was.
You haven't read it?
No. So each episode, and you'll get to do this at the end. You will write down a question for the next guest, and the previous guest that we had has written a question for you, who they did not know it was going to be you.
Viewer, listener, this says North Park Main Street.
Shout out to Main Street for the free.
We tag Main Street.
Shout out
Main Street, can you please share this video for us?
Right, you guys have a good Instagram. We have a podcast in the middle of the Main Street.
North Park is the best neighborhood in San Diego.
Yeah.
I love it. Keep going.
Yeah.
Speaking our language. All right, so what does it say?
I'm an advertiser at heart. It says nothing.
Okay, all right.
So flip to page 2.
Next one. Okay. Can you read the handwriting? I think it was Anthony.
It was Anthony.
Okay. Yeah. Sorry. No.
Can you just knock it off?
All right, we're ready.
Really sorry.
And action.
What was your biggest win in the past 5 years, and how have you celebrated it?
Ooh.
Oh, that's cool. I like that one. Good job, AC.
That's a good question. Past 5 years.
That's tough, though.
Okay, give me
Jeopardy song.
5 years.
It's just like telephone music.
I mean, we kind of talked about it. I would say the biggest win was saying yes to learning new skills.
And then
because it provided so much
so it was
joy
a process.
and work.
It was a process for you. It sounds like
such a process, but it was it is such a win because I'm like
mind is blown.
Not only is it like providing for me in financial ways and helping me continue to live, but it's also I'm learning skills. Like
your win is internal. That's what I love about it.
It's all of it.
Okay, because think about this. Usually when someone talks about a win, they're talking about something that's not in their control. But you're talking about something that you chose to do, and that's your win.
Yeah, I took an opportunity. At the time, it might not have looked like an opportunity that I had any choice. Like, it was like, you have to do something.
Mm-hmm.
But I did. I said yes. I learned some things.
And it was a huge win.
And it snowballed into so many more skills. And I celebrate it by being grateful for
honoring it.
Yeah. And
realizing
it. And
I love it.
Yeah. So the win is the skills learned in the last 5 years over working with my hands. And I would be remiss not to shout out the people who gave me those opportunities. Laura Parkening and Joel Moore with their restaurant, trusting me to decorate and build out their restaurant with them. My stepfather, Mark Bauer, who taught me how to paint, who taught me everything I know in painting. My good friend and former Power Ranger as well, Azim Rizik, who is a general contractor now, who brings me into jobs like that. My friend Cole Gerdes, who's a general contractor as well, who brings me into jobs. Like, these are the people who... And a lot of the reason they did this was because they saw a need for themselves to be doing this kind of thing and bringing in friends who needed more work and all that stuff. So shout out to the people who are giving people like me big wins.
Yes.
These are big wins.
The big wins. Yeah. Okay.
It's amazing.
Love it.
Cameron, God, it's so much fun.
Well, guys.
Thank you so much for coming.
What are you doing later? I need some help, like, with my
van. Yeah.
You want to help me scrape paint on my van?
Sure.
You get to write the next question, by the way, for the next guest, but you can do that when we stop recording.
Okay. We got to say hi to Mark Harley, too.
Hi, Mike Harley.
Mark Harley.
Mark. I was going to say, like...
Mark Harley was the guy that came and stayed with me and
hey, Mark, this is an official invite to come visit us on the podcast. We just need a...
They miss you, bud. Come on down.
We need a reason.
I should have just called him and surprised you with it.
Oh, my God. I have an extra chair.
I know.
I have an extra mic. Come on, let's do it.
Okay.
Have him on. He would be a good guest. He's got an incredible story. He's
Mark, do it.
Constantly writing and creating, and he's hilarious. And
you guys, I'll just come up there and visit you. I never get up.
You're gonna go to LA?
Yeah, but remember, us Angelinos love getting out of LA.
I know, dude, but
these
probably
are
more than I like getting up to LA.
More than you. Well, dude, you have kids. You have like 7 houses. You have like 4 businesses.
All you need is
4 charities. Yeah,
8 Instagram accounts.
I definitely have a little bit going on.
You have a van. You have a van, like an old.
Oh, you know what?
VW
we are going to be coming up your way soon for spring break. We're going to be in.
You're going to Arrowhead, aren't you?
Santa Barbara. We switched it up.
Don't tell my wife. She's just gonna show up. She's just gonna show up. She goes, "Oh, hey y'all.
Hey y'all.
Oh, you're going to Santa Barbara. I'm coming to Santa Barbara. Oh my God. Oh,
Nicole.
That's so funny. I'm coming to Santa Barbara.
Oh, that's so weird.
We're gonna stay right here. We're gonna be right there. We're staying in there.
Well, I'm pretty sure that you guys got the invite, but you guys are off to another fun little spot.
For spring break? Is this the week of the...
This is the same week.
April?
But that's okay.
Yeah.
We'll connect.
We're going to New York City, kid. We're going to New York City.
New York City.
Yeah,
I gotta
paint
the town red.
Yeah, okay, off Broadway. Can't afford Broadway. I'm just kidding. We're going to
Actually,
we are going to go see a show.
Hannah,
if you have any recommendations.
By the way, though,
I do.
Hannah is in rotation out there. She's also following her dream right now, and she's been out there working hard, training for this big audition coming up. So this is
for a show or a tour?
It's for a show. I just really want the Radio City, I want the spectacle.
Oh my God! Are you gonna be a Rockette?
I mean, no.
Okay.
Oh yes, she is. What do you mean no? What are you talking about? You're totally gonna be a Rockette.
Process.
Hey, Hannah,
I'm working solidly on my kicks.
You're working so hard and you're so dedicated, and I'm really, really proud of the decision she's made. actually. Little shout out to Hannah over here. I mean,
Proud of you.
this is. I'm excited
Proud
for.
mom.
I feel the energy for her. She's doing big things right now, and it's really awesome. So
Sure.
anyway, yeah, go see Hannah in New York if she's not too busy.
I do have
training.
show recommendations for you.
Thank
so,
you. Oh, I'm
but
excited.
maybe we should wrap this up right now because
Yeah.
people will be driving in
Okay,
their car and they're
guys.
like, okay.
How long have we been
Can
talking?
you guys just end it already? Yeah. Okay.
Dun, 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 dun.
And
how
the
long?
end.
Thanks for watching, and thanks for having me, you guys.
Love you.
Love you too.
Love you more.
I'm going to start writing this question. Bye.
Okay. Bye.